now we're going to take a quiz that looks just like this, so please pay attention. Number 1, what is your conclusion? Arithmetic, geometric, or neither?
Neither.
If you say arithmetic, you have to be getting from term to term by adding the same thing. Am I adding the same thing to get from term to term? No. If you say geometric, I have to be getting from term to term by multiplying by the same thing. Am I? No. So therefore, it is a neither. Now, I am not saying there isn't a pattern. You could find a pattern, but that isn't the question. Okay? Are we adding the same thing? No. Are we multiplying by the same thing? No. Therefore, we are a neither. Number 2, or B, letter B.
Neither.
With these ones with fractions, kind of look at the last couple terms. How would you get from 16/5 to 64/25? What would you have to do? You'd have to times the bottom by 5 and the top by 4, so you'd have to multiply by 4/5. All right, now look at the ones before that. This was a 4. If you multiply it by 4/5, do you get 16/5? And the first one was 5. If you multiply by 4/5, do you get 4? Yeah. So this one is geometric, and we are getting from term to term by multiplying by 4/5. So if it says, what is the common ratio, you will say 4/5. That is the number that you're timesing by. All right, what about C? Minus 8. So we're really adding -8. So that makes it arithmetic. The common difference is -8. Now, the formulas are written here in great big letters. So what you have to do is look at problem A, 2A now, we're on 2A. Find A sub 2015. So you're going to be using one of these two formulas because these are your A formulas, right? It says find A sub. So we're going to be using one of these two. Now how do we decide which one it is that we're going to be using? We got to figure out if we are arithmetic or geometric. Okay, so look at it. 2, 5, 8. What do you think? We're adding 3. That makes us arithmetic. Which of these is arithmetic? You're supposed to know this.
Middle one.
The second one. There's your common difference right there. So this is the formula you're going to use for the problem. Oh shoot, I gotta be over here, don't I?
Yeah.
So this is the formula we're going to use. A sub n equals A sub 1 plus D times n minus 1. That's it. Now let's plug in. What do I put where? A sub 2015
A2
equals 2, that's the first term, plus 3, that's what you told me you added to get from term to term, that's your common difference, times 2014. So then you'll get your calculator out, and is that, ooh, 6046, I did that in my head, somebody, or 6044.
Yeah,
Double check my arithmetic.
you're right.
Okay? Now there is nothing hard about that. I'm giving you the formulas, you're just plugging and chugging. Number 2. Now, it says find S. Kids, look on the board. How many plain S's do you see? 1. It doesn't say find S sub something. It says find S. So we are using that formula right there, which says S is A sub 1 over 1 minus R. What's A sub 1 in this problem? 4. What is the ratio? What are you timesing by to get from term to term? Remember with the fractions, it might be easier to look at the back end.
3/4.
We're multiplying by 3/4. So we have 4 divided by, what's 1 minus 3/4? 1/4 or 0.25. The answer should be 16. Now again, you are going to have a calculator. This should not be an issue for you.
Yeah, sorry.
C, find A sub 13. You are not confused. Your obedient little eyes look up here and say, hey, there are 2 A formulas. Now you pick one. Well, what's going on in the problem? Multiplying by 2.
So it's geometric.
That's geometric with a common ratio of 2. So what will A sub 13 be? The formula is this. So A sub 13 will equal what? 6 times 2 to the 12. Now that is going to require a calculator. That is going to be a very big number. So that's 24576. I mean, not for 20 or something, but. All right, letter D. Find S sub 213. Now look at the blackboard. Find an S sub formula. There's 2 of them, right?
Second one. First one.
So we got to decide what's going on here. Are we arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic. What's happening? We have a common difference of negative 10. So we're going to use that formula right there. All right, so what's that formula say to do? S sub 213 equals 213 over 2. Kids, if it says S sub 213, then what's N? 213, right? Times. All right, what goes here? First term is 1,000. Oh, shooty tooty. This is A sub 213. It doesn't say N, it says A sub N. That's A sub 213. Shoot, how am I going to figure that out? Katie? I got to go back to the other formula and over to the side, do A sub 213. That formula says A sub 1 plus D times N minus 1, so here we go. A sub 1 is 1,000. What did you say the difference was? Actually, it's not 10, it's negative 10, and that makes a big difference. Make sure you have that 10 being negative. And then what would N minus 1 be? 212. So I can figure out what that is. Negative 1120. Now, is that what I put in the answer blank or draw a circle around or whatever? No, what did I do that for? So I could put it right there? So I have 213 over 2 times 1,000 minus 1120. So the final answer, the thing that goes in the answer blank, did you get negative 12,780?
Yep. Got it.
All right, and then E. It's another S sub problem. This time we want to find S sub 8. Kids, you don't know, it's one of these. These are your S sub formulas. Those are not S sub formulas, these are. So you know it's one of those, but you can't decide which one until you look at your sequence. You're timesing by 3, which makes it geometric, which makes it an R formula, right?
Yes.
Ratio, 3. So S sub 8 will be, what's your first term? 2 minus 2 times 3 to the 8 over 1 minus 3. Now, do you understand where I got all the numbers I put into this formula? What does A sub 1 stand for? A sub 1, what's that stand for? First number. Okay, it's on the paper. First number's 2. What's R stand for? Common ratio. That's what we times by, which you said was 3. N is 8. How do I know N is 8? It tells me in the problem, S sub N. Now, when you type this in, please take a moment, make that -2 before you get started. And then type 2 minus 2 times 3 raised to the 8 equals divided by -2. You should get 6560. If you didn't get 6560, we need to type it in again. Anybody not get 6560?
Yeah, I got 6563.
Yeah, negative 65.9.
Here we go. Type in exactly what I tell you to type.
Oh, that is negative.
2 minus 2 times 3 raised to the 8 equals divided by -2 equals 6560. You have to hit the equals before you divide. All right, now we're done with formulas for a minute. We're looking at limits.
Oh my gosh, this one has a huge fight.
A. Limit of A, 3A.
2/3.
No,
Wait, sorry.
no,
0.
0. Kids, when you have a fraction raised to a power, and I don't care what the power is, it can be n minus 1, it can be n plus 1, it can be 4n, I don't care. That's not important. What's important is the size of this number. The answer to this question is always going to be either 0 or no limit. That's it. Those are the only two options. When is it 0? When this fraction is less than 1, when it's bottom heavy. If the fraction is bigger than 1, then it will be no limit. Now, we talked about that a ton. Let's engage those brains. So number 1, or 3A is 0, because 2/3 is less than 1. How about B? No limit or divergent. You can say divergent, no limit or divergent, because the fraction in the parentheses is bigger than 1. It's top heavy. Now, problems C, D, E, and F are a different kind of problem. With C, D, E, and F, we do it different because it's a different kind of problem. What's the answer to C? Negative 2/3. Why is it negative 2/3? Because it's negative 2n over positive 3n. Right?
Yes.
All right, D.
Negative 2 over 0.
Divergent. D is divergent because the power on the top is bigger than the power on the bottom. When the power on top is bigger, you're divergent. Look at E.
0.
0, because the power on the bottom is bigger.
Bigger, yes.
If the power on top is bigger, it's divergent. If the power on the bottom is bigger, it's 0. In F, the powers match. See that? So the answer is 6/7. When the powers match, you just get to take the fraction. All right, part 4. The directions look scary, but this is the easiest section on the whole quiz. Who remembers where I told you to find the explicit formulas? Katie? They're the A's. Those are your explicit formulas. So how are you going to know which one to use? Whether you're arithmetic or geometric. So take a look at the first problem there, A. What's going on? You are subtracting 3, which means your arithmetic and your difference is negative 3. Remember, it's all about adding or multiplying. So instead of say subtracting, we have to say adding negative 3. So your formula is this. All you do is plug in your first term and your ratio. So A sub n will equal what? 32 minus 3 times n minus 1, or if you put plus a negative, that's fine. And then remember what I told you about this? What do we need to do?
Simplify.
We need to distribute and collect like terms. And here is your answer. So where do our explicit formulas come from? The A formulas, which I'm going to give you. You just have to figure out which one to use and then plug in your first term and your difference, if it's arithmetic. Look at number B. B is geometric. What's the ratio in B? I'm timesing by 4. So my formula, I'm going to use this one. Now what do I plug in? My first term and my ratio. So what will the answer be? First term is 2, ratio is 4. That's your answer. The geometric ones do not simplify. You cannot do anything with that. That's it. Okay?
So if I were to put 8,
You would be wrong. You cannot multiply these two together because this has an exponent and this does not. They're not like, they can't be put together. Okay? One more time. Where do our explicit formulas come from? The A's. All right, last one. Given that A sub 5 is 22, so 1, first term, second, third, fourth, the fifth term is 22, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and the 11th term is 46, in an arithmetic sequence. So they're telling you it's arithmetic. Now, you might say to me, Mrs. Ford, there are two arithmetic formulas. There's this one, and there's this one. How did you know that this is the one you were going to use? That one is sum. And does this problem say anything about adding them up? No. No. So we are going to use this arithmetic formula. Now, who remembers our strategy for these?
I like 22 is sub 1.
We chop it off and we look at just the part that we have a beginning and an end for. Tim? We're looking at the part we have a beginning and an end for. So just for the time being, we'll make this a sub 1. And then this will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I look at just the blocked off part, there are 7 terms, right? So I'm going to let n be 7, because n is the number of terms. N, number of terms. There are 7 if I look at just the blocked off part. Right? According to my formula, the 7th term, which is 46, should equal what? A1, which is 22, plus the common difference, which I have no idea what that is. I just put D, I don't know what that is. But I know N is what?
6.
7. So N minus 1 would be 6. Kids, when you say A sub 7, you're saying N is 7. Look at the formula, A sub N. So when you say A sub 7, N is 7. So N minus 1 would be 6. Now, can we solve this? Yes. Subtract 22. I got D equal 4. Now, what does that mean?
You could plug, you could just take everything out of 4.
That means if I wanted to go this way, I would add 4, right? But what I really want to know is the real first term back here. So instead of adding 4, I will go backwards. I'm subtracting. So this would be 18, 14, 10, and 6. Now, could I fill those in? Absolutely. You want to fill them in? Go ahead. You don't need them. But you can fill them in if you want.
So, how do you get A7 equals 46 equals 22?
The 7th term is 46. And the formula says that's the first term plus the common difference times n minus 1. Now, I haven't answered the question. Find A sub 1. There it is. And A sub 200. How am I going to find the 200th term in that list? I'm going to use that formula, right? And I'm going to say the first term, which is 6.
Isn't that lunch?
Plus the common difference, which
I
is
think we go after
4
this period,
times 199. Yeah, we eat last, don't worry. So the answer to the question, besides, you guys just ate breakfast.
What? No.
802.
To clarify, lunch period 1 is over. Those in class stay in class until 12 o'clock for the second lunch period.
40 minutes, I might pass out in
Class, Kelly Hall will go to lunch second at 12 o'clock.
So the answer is 802.
Back to the important stuff.
Okay. Now, We did practice quiz 1 on Thursday. It's in the same packet. Everything's all filled out because we got through the whole thing. What I want you to do right now is you have 5 minutes to get with a partner and talk about anything, probably in practice test 2 because that's what we just did, but I don't think you could do 1 if you wanted to. And get clarified with your partner anything that you still need to clarify. Okay? You have 5